have a couple thoughts.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about what I would do first.
Okay.
Obviously,
Like,
I wouldn't have made that deal.
yeah.
Obviously, I wouldn't have made that deal. I don't care which way you slice it. I don't care if he's 285 pounds. You don't trade that man, especially. Now, you know what my thing is. You can't be a top five player unless you're a playoff killer, unless you raise your game. It's not just the fact that he's a top five player, it's the fact that he might be the best playoff player in the league. And he's 25 years old. So, would I have made that trade? F no. But let's put ourselves in the Mavericks GM shoes. Under the mindset that he thinks defense wins championships, that's square one. What did he do? He flipped one of the worst defensive players in the league for someone who should have been a defensive player of the year 5+ times. What he also did is he looked at the Cavs and said, the Cavs are the best team in the East. Why? Because they have these two 7-foot bigs who switch on D, who block a ton of shots, who clog paint, who can move. The AD Lively playoff pairing is something to just keep an eye on. I'm not saying it's a good trade, but I don't like the fact that folks grade this an F. I don't like the fact that the Mavs are being incredibly slammed. They should get slammed, but we should also think, let's give him time. Let's give this thing time.
I understand that the two bigs AD thing with Kyrie, PJ Washington, and this, that, the other. Like, okay, cool. I'm happy AD can go play the four if that's what he really wanted to do. But that's besides the point of the grade on the trade because AD should be there, sure, in this trade. But you know what else should be there? Austin Reeves, Dalton Connect, and 7 other first round picks. That's why everyone is so quick to be pissed at this trade because rightly so. Because for a guy that's 25 years old, he's 25, he's my age. I'm
Yeah,
talking about this dude on a podcast. He's my
right.
age and he's already, even if he's 280 pounds and out of shape, and that's what we've seen the last 5 years. Guess what? He's made first team all pro, first team all NBA 5 times out of his first 6 seasons. And
Five
even if
consecutive years.
and if
Five
he's
consecutive.
overweight and out of shape and doing that, how in your mind can you say first, hey, shake your hand, see you at the door? You can't do that. Can't do that.
Nico, dude.
If you let him get out the door,
Mhm.
then who has to be coming back through the door? It has to be the world.
Well, he
And it
did try
was
and
not even
get
close.
he tried to get Vic. Obviously, the Spurs said no. He tried to get Antetokounmpo, and if I was the Bucks, I personally would have said yes, just because Luka's 25. I don't know if you saw this too. Just to add to the case that maybe Nico was on a little bit of blow. He called the kid literally like 12
Is
times
is that
from
true?
from
Because
like
I saw it on
oh
Twitter and I didn't
I may have been NBA
send.
sense, yeah, but it would add to the
It
plot
would
of
add
like
to the plot. It would
Nico was on a sick one. Let's give him a little bit of credit. He's done pretty well with this team.
no doubt. And
And
that's why it's that much more shocking because you saw what he was able to put together last year. You saw him bring in Gafford and PJ Washington to a team that needed both of those guys, and they addressed both of those issues, and they were then able to make a run to the finals. He was behind that construction, and sure, Luka and Kyrie played their part as killers, and so to then on the flip side have this happen to a guy that we saw last year is very capable of making the right adjustments in a team and then going on a run with it. Like that's why it's that much more shocking to me because
it,
he's been a good GM. He got
he
Jason
really
Kidd. He got
he really
Jason Kidd
has
when
been.
no one else in the league believed in
I
him.
mean, Sammy, do you think there's a in Mavericks fans, I'm not just trying to be positive. I do actually think that there's a world where for 2 or 3 years this works out pretty well. Do you think Jason Kidd, he says he didn't know, do you think Jason Kidd was somewhat involved in this move? There's some sort of genius Jason Kidd.
No, I
So
can't.
you think no one knew?
I was trying to explain this to my parents in that I genuinely think this was as closed of a door situation as the NBA has seen in a long time. Like we talk about players all the time, like requesting a trade, like or being passive aggressive or seeing something coming. The last time this has happened is when Powell got dealt to the Lakers, and nobody other than the Lakers knew that he was remotely available. Like when I hear that other teams and other execs were unaware that Luka was even on the table, that's what makes me think that no one else knew what was going on. Because A, why would he be? Why would teams like assume that Luka's on the table? Rightly so. But then how does this deal get done then? It's so closed doored.
What's more suspect is it seems like it got done in a single day. Because even if this was a 3-day process, it would have been leaked. Someone from some team
It
would
had
have
to have
leaked
been.
this. Also, you would think that maybe the Mavs would want to leak it, so there's a war
So
for them, which that's
we
the
can get it. We
strangest
can get
part to
into
me.
yeah,
But what that speaks to is this GM really has this unearthly feeling
or
that
gripe.
with AD or with a all-time defensive type big, because like I said, he tried to get the Greek Freak, he tried to get Vic. He feels like he can win a championship. I'm not
And he
saying he's
just
right. I'm just
yeah,
saying
no,
that's
a
that's
hundred
why it
percent.
happened so quickly,
And I guess it's a die on your hill type of thing in his situation because if this does backfire, he won't have a job. Like he
very
just won't.
quickly. Very
And
quickly, he
and
will not have a job.
and
And he
there's
will never
no
have a GM job.
no, he will not. He will go down as the GM that traded Luka fucking Doncic. And you don't want to be that guy. You don't. Even if you see
This dude has
some
massive nuts.
yeah, and they might just be getting chopped off.
He may have just jumped into an ice bath.
Let's talk about the point that you mentioned. We talked about teams around the league not knowing that Luke was on the table. And you mentioned this, and I'd listened to it and was also mentioning it that if you're in the world or mind space of we want to move on from Luka Doncic, we're no longer in that business.
Hmm.
There is zero reason on God's green earth that you would not somewhat leak something or let that be known to the press because then you have every single team in the NBA putting together their biggest offer they could, and then you get to pick from it. And I
Yeah,
don't know why they didn't do
yeah,
that. And maybe
what
they
it
just wanted to keep it under wraps. But that now you're looking at the repercussions of that.
maybe he saw some sort of advantage for it not to be leaked. And to me, that means it was in the interest of time. He wants this to get done now because he feels like AD, Vic, or the Greek Freak would give the Mavericks the best chance to win the championship within the next 3 years. You look at the Lakers and the Mavs and you compare them. I actually like the Mavericks on paper more. I just do. I think the Mavs are incredibly deep. And look, I'm not saying Christie is a good player yet, but as your ninth man in the playoffs, it's pretty damn good. He's on a good deal too. I think Washington. Let's say he gets 5 or 6 more shots per game. The way he's playing, I mean, he's been in the league for 8 to 9 years now. The way he's playing, he could be a three. Guess what? If he's off, Clay could be on.
Yeah.
Exum, we saw what he could do last year. You got D Live. You have Gafford. The Mavs have pieces. Defensively now, the Lakers are not only bad, they're abysmal. Who do they have? I mean, they have a Jared Vanderbilt who's often hurt. He really hasn't gotten that much run in a couple years, which tells me, and by the way, this is a guy I love, but it tells me that maybe he's not as good as I think.
Yeah.
Who's
I mean,
playing defense? And LeBron is 40 years old. I think what
but
the
he's
Lakers
still
are
like,
banking
dude,
on,
sorry, I'm looking
sure,
at here. I'm listening to you, but I'm sweating Milwaukee Bucks first half money line bet. That's how degenerate I'm feeling right now. There's
the
18 seconds left,
plays.
up three, 11 seconds. Let's just can't have a three. Yeah, just get it to the rack. which way are we going? Oh, they called a foul. That's fine. It's fine.
Safe.
3.5. If anything atrocious happens, you'll know. But I didn't
So
mean to cut you off. But yeah,
no,
keep
no,
going
no.
about the Lakers.
And I get he doesn't age, but as a GM, can't bank on the fact that he'll be playing at 42. So what the Lakers have in place is a thought process that's the 2026 free agency class is so stacked that they feel from the bottom of their hearts they can go out and get someone they probably can. All
They
I'm
will get
saying
someone.
is, Lakers fans, if you played the Mavs in a 7 game right now, I would take the
Mm,
Mavs in six. I would on paper, I would take the Mavs in six. Where does Reeves go?
I think he probably stays at least this year
Can't.
because
Can't.
you don't know the health extent of Luka, like when he's going to be back. So for now, and I just don't unless a team comes to you and is like Reeves is a guy we want and we're willing to pay like overpriced for him, then you listen. But realistically, he's a guy that's going to be on this team at least this year. Um, just because of the season that he's had a good year. Granted, the defensive numbers are going to be bad with him, Luka, and LeBron on the floor. But dude, it
I
comes back
mean,
to the point that
Sammy,
I've been making.
it's not bad.
It's the worst in the league. But yes, it's got to
But
be
it's
patchwork. It's got to be patchwork. They got to patch something together. And but you do it 10 times out of 10. You like, okay,
for sure.
see ya.
For sure. I'm just look, as a diehard Suns fan and as a person who just doesn't like the Lakers,
Yeah,
I'm trying to slow down on folks here thinking here comes championships. Like I'm just putting things into perspective. The
yeah.
Lakers aren't beating OKC, they're not beating Houston. Like the
Well,
the the
see,
list goes on. Now, Luka for
it,
10 years, you'll probably win
well,
a ring.
well, here's the thing, dude. It's like I think they could. Like they genuinely could. I think they're gonna get a center, and
If they get us.
they're now 9 deep. They're still 9 deep, even with losing AD and Christie. They're still 9 deep. The starting five when they trot it out will be Luka, Reeves, LeBron, Rui, and the five. Maybe Vando before they do a trade, but that's your starting five. And sure, there's no center,
Cool.
whatever. Like or Jackson Hayes, whatever, for now. But dude,
Rui's my
still,
boy, and I'm still
yeah.
saying people don't understand how much AD meant to this team and how much he was integral.
Let me just point this out. Last night, the Lakers and the King went to the Garden, no AD, and they thumped them.
LeBron had a triple dub. I mean, I'm
And they
not, look,
thumped
it's a
them.
good point, but it's one game. So it's
And then
good, but it's not
so
substantive.
yeah, and obviously like yeah, I get they're not going to be able to replicate that every single night. But okay, yeah, they played a good one. The King was there. Oh, by the way, guess who just came out of the locker room? He's wearing number 77. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck, Houston.
So let's say this.
Good luck, Memphis.
If LeBron wins a ring with Luka this year, because we have to bring this up, right?
Or
If
next. Like he's probably going to be around.
if LeBron wins a ring this year, it is the perfect, your team is really good, but has a real black hole defensively, and the West is incredibly stacked. It's the best conference you've played in your life. If LeBron wins a ring this year, he's the GOAT. Conversation ends. If he wins a ring with this team, he is the best player of all time. And I'm a Mike guy.
Say Luka and LeBron put on their capes and they somehow get it done. There's still a runway within the next 3 years for him to get his sixth. Because guess what? Luka is still fucking there. And then they can piece things together. They can actually build a team less around LeBron James now and more around Luka.